Hey, greetings! Welcome back to Sean's Irish Whiskey Shelf, coming at you from the heart of the United States out here in the Midwest. Now, what I have for you this evening is one bottle. Now, normally I have 2, 3, 4 bottles lined up here, but tonight we're going to do one. And I'm doing one because, folks, I think this is one special, fantastic bottle of whiskey. Now, folks who have been watching my videos all along know that I have been talking about Hard To Find Whisky. They are my new favorite vendor, and I received 3 bottles from them this week, this being one of them. There are 2 more back here on the shelf that we're going to look at as well. These bottles were specifically recommended to me by their buyer, and he was spot on, folks. I'm telling you, I haven't tried the other 2, but if they're anything like this bottle, oh my goodness. I mean, just couldn't be better, at least for my palate, like we talk about. So give them a try. If you need Irish whiskey and you can't find what you're looking for at your local whiskey shop or supermarket or wherever you happen to buy your whiskey, right there, folks. Hard To Find Whisky, htfw.com. I'm telling you, great customer service, fast shipping. The only problem shipping this time was DHL. They kind of got the shipping messed up a little bit. Wasn't Hard To Find Whisky's fault. It was DHL's fault. So I can't sing their praises enough. And Will is the gentleman that I speak with there. And he recommended this bottle. This is Waterford, the Cuvee. Now, I will tell you that I've seen bottles of the Waterford many times, not on my shelf, on some of the online sites where I look for whiskey. And I've kind of shied away from them. I look at the bottle. As you can tell, it's not a traditional Irish whiskey bottle. It's this sapphire blue or cobalt blue, whatever they want to call it. It's not like what you'd normally see with Irish whiskey. And a lot of the offerings that they have are single farm. They will say single farm and then the name of this farm, or single farm, the name of that farm. Well, Will suggested that I try Waterford the Cuvee, and I've already given it a sip. I'm blown away by it, and I wanted to figure out what it is that makes this so special. So before we have a drop together, I want to tell you just a little bit about this and why I think you should try it too. Waterford distillers, up until they made the Cuvee, did exactly what I just said. They would make a whiskey that was using the barley from one particular farm, and they would do that from different farms. So they call that the terroir. Terroir, and you can look that up online if you'd like. That is a word, T-E-R-R-O-I-R. What you're talking about there, you're talking about the characteristics taken together, so the aggregate characteristics of the environment where a food or a wine is produced. So that's things like the soil, the climate, whether it's the local climate, the regional climate, even the topography. I mean, think about it. Where your farmland sits, whether it's on a hill, whether it's flat, that can make a difference too. So Waterford takes into account the terroir of these different farms. Now, when they developed the Cuvee is a symphony of all of their farms. So they've taken 25 of the farms that provide them with the barley that they need to make their whiskeys. They made single farm whiskeys, and then they blended them together into the Cuvee. So this truly is a symphony And I use that word because that's what it is. It's a symphony of 25 different single farm whiskeys. And it's fabulous. And one of the other cool things here, on the back, there's a code. And you can use that code, log on to their website, and find out everything about this batch of whiskey. So, for example, I used the code and I found out that this whiskey was bottled in August of 2021. It is, at the time of bottling, or it was, I should say, at the time of bottling, it was 4 years, 6 months, and 10 days old. Plus, it listed all of the different casks that this came from, the individual numbers of those casks. On that page also, there's some data that's kind of interesting. And I'm going to share that with you here. So the first thing you can look at is you can look at a map that shows you the different farms that are used to make Waterford whiskey. Then, if you scroll down a little bit further, you can see a table that shows exactly which 25 of those farms provided the barley to make this whiskey, with the name of the farmer or the primary owner of the farm. Then, scroll down a little bit more, and you can find the 4 types of barley that were used to make this. So listed right out there, the 4 different types of barley. And I don't know barley, so looks good to me, I'll tell you that. And then finally, it shows the composition. What did they use when they were finishing this whiskey? And what they used were first fill American barrels, new American barrels, French wine barrels, I believe, and VDN barrels. And VDN barrels are Vino de Naranja, or orange wine in Spanish. So they're Spanish barrels. So they took this single farm whiskey from 25 farms, put it together, finished it in these different barrels, and we have Waterford the Cuvee. Now, I've talked a lot about my palate maybe being different from yours. And I will tell you honestly that this is by far the most unique Irish whiskey I have tried to date. I'm just completely stunned by this whiskey. This is 100 proof, 50%, so it's pretty potent, but it doesn't taste like it. Drunken Sailor back here at 80 proof has way more ethanol burn than this does at 100. So we're going to take a drop together here because I've talked enough and I cannot wait to get this past my lips again. That is, folks, I wish that I had the kind of palate that some people have on some of these channels that I look at, whether it's a bourbon channel or a Scotch channels, not too many Irish whiskey channels, and they can tell you all of the different nuances. I would love to be able to tell you what nuances are in this whiskey. I can't. What I can tell you is that this, by far, it's just popping with flavor. Many, many different flavors. Heck, 25 different farms worth of flavor. Molded together that just make wow, just a fantastic whiskey. It's a single malt. I didn't mention that, but it is a single malt. And let's see, they don't even tell you on here what you should be expecting. But you can go on their website and you can see an interview or a little production by the master distiller and the CEO of Waterford, where they talk about the Cuvee and how they brought this together. And folks, this should cost you, it cost me about $75, I want to say. This arguably is the best 75 bucks I have spent for a bottle of whiskey. Now, if you buy it online, you're going to have to pay shipping. I'm not including that. I'm just telling you what the bottle cost. I have never seen this on a shelf in America. You're not going to see it on a shelf in America, in Iowa anyway, where I am. But even when I lived on the East Coast, I never saw it. So I'm guessing they bring it over. If you see it on your shelf and you want to try something that's just, man, it just lights up your mouth with taste, pick it up. Pick it up right now. Waterford the Cuvee from the Waterford Distilling Company in, well, Waterford, Ireland. You can't go wrong. I'm telling you. This, I could drink this all day. It could easily be an everyday sipper for me if if I had the money. Wow. For someone who doesn't like single malt that much, I would drain this whole bottle. I wouldn't have any problem with that. And then the folks at Hard to Find Whiskey, they'd probably like that because I'd come buy another bottle, right? So anyway, that's all I have for you this evening. I really just wanted to talk about Waterford. Now I'm curious about some of their other whiskeys. They're single farm whiskeys. They've got another, I noticed on their website, they've got a couple of other Cuvee blends that I may be interested in trying. But this will always have a place on my shelf. And I love it. And I hope that if you find a bottle and you pick it up, that you're going to like it too. And if you liked this video, please take a second, go down and click the thumbs up button, because I'd love to have your like clicks if you liked it. It keeps the YouTube algorithms happy. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. You can find that on the other side. There's a subscribe button and there's a bell once you subscribe so that you can be notified when I come out with new videos. New videos come out at least once a week. That's the cadence I'm on right now. We are next week, Dingle, batch number 6. That came from Hard to Find Whiskey. And let me see here, Method and Madness. Single pot still. All right, you know what whiskey I like is single pot still, right? Right there. Method and Madness, single pot still. I'm going to crack these open and give these a try here pretty soon, because if they're normal, if they're not super exceptional, we'll try them together. If they knock my socks off like the Waterford did, they might get their own show as well. I'm telling you, Will Bracey at Hard to Find Whiskey, he's the man. He's the man. So God love him. I will make sure that before I go and add anything to my shelf in October, that I chat with him and we see what's going to be up there. So that's all I have for you this evening. Until we meet again, please enjoy your drop of Irish whiskey, because any reason to have a drop of Irish whiskey is a great reason, but I want you to do it responsibly, because I really do want you to be here next week so we can do this together. I'd love it if we could all get together and have a big old Irish whiskey party. Maybe someday I can at least meet some of you and we'll have a big old party somewhere, but you're going to have to come to the Midwest. So that's about it tonight. Be well and be safe. Sláinte. Bye now.